And you might know me as Alice Kitty, no Comedy Center and Seven Companions, the younger version of Frankie in One Piece, the Blue Ranger in Level E. I say the Blue Ranger because I always butcher his name. It's Shimizu. And a bunch of other lovely things. And Virgo and Fairy Tale. Next to me is an amazing voice actor.
She's lying. Hi, my name is Josh Greeley. I'm a voice actor, writer for animation, Sentai Entertainment, a whole bunch of different studios. Some roles you might know me as Kenichi Shirahama, Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple, Koichi Hayase, Line Battles of Iron, Akihisa Yoshi, Baka and Test, Lithuania, Italia, whole bunch of stuff. Oh, and I'm also one of the writers on Fairy Tale.
Yeah. Yes. Now we're doing this, I understand, like there aren't a lot of people here. But by the end of the weekend we'll be we'll feel very stupid not having used these. Because we do work on the play stuff. So, I guess the thing to do is to get amazing questions or not so amazing questions. Questions nonetheless from you lovely so-and-sos, and we get to answer them as best we can. It's real easy for us to get, or it's very common for us to get the how do I become a voice actor? But the bigger, more intricate, more original questions are also strongly encouraged. We're definitely up for talking about the industries and how to get in, like tips, tricks here and there, but we're up for anything, seriously. Even if it's like, what do you think Virgo would do if it was a dreary Tuesday in June? Like, I'm up for anything. So, with that in mind, who has a question?
Don't be shy.
Really?
We're all friends here.
Really?
I have a question.
Yes,
sir. What's each of y'all's favorite animes that y'all worked on?
That we worked on?
Yeah.
Huh? No, I'm fine. There's a lot that I really like. I was a really big fan of Tears to Tiara when we worked on it. It was one of the shows that I worked on for Sentai Filmworks down in Houston. It was kind of, if you like sword and sorcery stuff like I do, like one of my favorite animes of all time is Slayers. Nice. And yeah, it's kind of like Slayers, just without the kookiness and without all the silly and the comedy. I mean, there's obviously little bits of comedy, but it's a serious show. It takes place kind of in the Arthurian mythology, so it's like King Arthur and stuff like that, but you've got elves, you've got magic, you've got swords and stuff, but it's mostly about these gigantic, huge battles.
So you watch anime in your free time?
Oh yeah. My god, yeah. I don't think he'll his roles will ever catch up to the amount of anime he's seen. Like, this dude is severely schooled in anime.
What are you watching right now?
Right now, I'm working on more Fairy Tale, so I'm watching that as I'm doing it, which is always fun.
I like that he likes Virgo.
Yeah, Virgo's badass. I love Virgo, especially I just wrote an episode where she's like, well, I can't do that, but I can entertain you, and then she starts just doing this weird little dance. All right.
Typecasting,
That's
because I dance like an idiot.
What's something I was watching recently that I haven't seen before? Because I rewatch a lot of stuff too. I like anything in my collection. I was recently rewatching Sorcerer Hunters, and which is also a really fun show. Also was watching Princess Jellyfish again recently, which is
yeah, I just finally watched the dub. I'd only seen the sub. I love it. Really does really good in that show. You should check out that. It's on Hulu. Hulu and Netflix.
And original Dirty Bear is also really good.
Okay, so the question was favorite show
that you worked on.
Honestly, as much as I love voice acting, I will always kind of have a soft spot for the shows that I directed. The shows that I directed when I first started out, to no one else but me, because you're your own worst critic. I see that I was still learning as far as rewrites and stuff, and some of my earlier shows. And Baka is great, and I love doing comedy. It's a passion. But I really, really enjoyed Ride Back. Ride Back, as far as directing, is probably one of my favorite shows. It didn't get the love that it honestly deserved, but it's a great show. It's fantastic. And as far as Favorite show that I've been involved in as far as a voice actor? I really do enjoy Fairy Tale. I've only watched up to part 5, so I need more. But and I've seen, of course.
Isn't part 5 all that we've released so far?
No, we just released part 8.
Oh, that's right.
Like last week.
Actually, I think I actually saw that. Yeah. Because that's an Ellis, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
yeah, sorry,
It's
okay.
Urza versus Urza stuff.
Yes! Love
So yeah, those. Thank you for the question, Ray. What else, guys?
Come in, yeah.
Come on. Don't be afraid. Yeah.
You worked on Initial D, right? How was that working on Initial D?
Initial, well, oh my
Lot of
god.
fun. It's like, I know nothing about cars,
I wrote
but
some of it, and it was like, does this make sense? And I think I'm like, there's one chick in it, like Brina, and then the rest is dudes, and I play like, you know, a gearhead enthusiast. And it's just like, yeah! I don't know what's going on, but I'm really excited.
Cars are sexy.
Cars are hot, right? I don't know.
getting to play Itsuki was
That's right, I
a
was
lot,
trying to
lot,
remember.
lot of fun because I mean he's the geek. He's the big geek in the entire. Well, I mean like the other guys he works with like I can't remember Bale's character's name, but he works with him in the car show.
Yeah.
Not Takumi, the other one.
Takumi's still,
Yeah. But I mean, he's just the biggest nerd out of everybody, and it was so fun because everybody's all serious about cars. Cars are the end all and be all of the world, of the universe. And he's just like, this thing's cool. You see this?
It's Josh.
Yeah.
It's Josh with anime, except Josh with cars. Very good. I wrote some episodes. I wrote 2 in the 4th stage, and I actually had to constantly being like, okay, wait. So the GTR is at a disadvantage in the uphill because of this, but in the downhill, like, wait. I need help. Okay, does this make sense? Yes. This doesn't though. I'm talking about steering, blah, blah, blah. I don't get it. I'll argue about zombies, fast versus slow, coagulated blood, like for days, but real stuff that could probably very much benefit me to know, I have no idea. But like, does that sound right? And Joel, who directed it, was like, yeah, it does. I mean, you could tell that it didn't make perfect sense at times. And I'm like, did you get the Pretty Woman reference? He's like, no. I'm like, that's right, you didn't because you're a fan. But baby rides like it's on rails. I'm like, that's right, it does. It doesn't make sense to me at all. But Initial D was fun.
Yeah.
I felt very accomplished with that script.
I think the Japanese announced that they're finally making 5th stage.
Well, they just, the guy before us said something about it.
Oh,
like
he
the
did?
final stage. I think it's called the final stage.
Oh, we're doing the last one. Hopefully we get to do it because we had a lot of fun with that. I love the music. The music is probably one of my favorite parts of that entire thing.
I think that's on Netflix too.
Yeah, it is.
Everything, basically, we work for Netflix. That's what I want to. No. Yes, fourth
Have you
stage.
heard about Netflix? This Jehovah's Witness of
Well, there was
Netflix.
an AT&T guy that came to my house, and I work from home, so I was immediately pissed because I've got the no soliciting stuff, and I was recording, and I was all prepared to yell at him. But then I want to get rid of the guy the people that I'm using for my internet, and. Well, wow. And he's like, oh, and what are you doing for cable? And he was like all prepared to give me the sales pitch, and I have Netflix, and he went, that's really all you need, isn't it? And I went, yeah, and he went, so don't even bother. He's like, I wasn't going to. Like,
That's cool.
what are you gonna, you need the commercials. I don't know.
Good question, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you like D?
Yeah.
Big fan?
Yeah, that was my first anime I ever watched.
Really? How long ago was that?
Actually, I just recently started getting anime.
Oh, really cool.
About 2 years ago.
Welcome to Insanity. Is this your first con?
No, second time.
Cool. All right. I was about to say virgin!
That's what you want to say at an 18+ convention?
Yeah.
Where? They're not all gone, eh? No. Come on. Come on.
So we got a conversion, conjury. And this is the con to do it at.
What?
This is
So I guess we're done. Thanks, everyone. No. No!
Question.
Come on.
So,
Yes.
what's y'all's... Oh.
No, I was
What's your
gonna.
favorite anime that you didn't work on? Just
Favorite
you
anime
watched
that we
it
didn't
free
work
time.
on.
They would have Slayers.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah, especially I think Funimation got the rights to do, got the rights to the most recent ones, Revolution and Evolution R.
Yeah.
But they really cool that they got the original cast back together, so it was all recorded in I think New York. So nobody down here really got to work on it, but I mean, I'm still as a fan, it's just cool to see new Slayers. But I would have killed just to be a bandit that got dragon slaved. That would be the best thing, dude. Just to be some bit dude that Lena blows away with
I
spells.
love stuff like that. Like, hey, I got to be a part of this. They're like, are you a big fan? No, not at all. Like I did that with Mass Effect. I'm like, I'm in the Mass Effect movie. Holy crap. They're like, was it good? No, it was horrible, but I'm in it. Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm in a movie with Freddie Prinze Jr. And who's that? I don't know, but apparently he's married to Buffy. All right.
I thought it was a good movie.
It's exactly the same thing happened to me. I was in the House of Torment commercial, and I was just in like a split, like 2-second commercial. I was like, yeah, I was in the House of Torment.
Hells yeah, dude.
Um,
From where? If you don't mind me asking.
House of Torment in Texas is.
Really, that's super funny because I was in a commercial for Texas Motor Speedway for NASCAR up in Dallas. That's awesome, dude.
favorite anime that I haven't worked, like, I didn't think I was into anime for the longest time, and I just wasn't into the animes that friends were showing me. But I'll always have a soft spot for Ghost in the Shell, the entire franchise, really. But one that we as Funimation, technically we don't work for Funny, we're contract. One that Funimation did that I'm absolutely in love with, that my husband engineered, but I wasn't in, Steins Gate. Oh, Steins Gate.
So good.
It's so good. Chaos Head, not so much. Robotic Notes, love, because they're all in the same universe, but Steins Gate. And my buddy, J. Michael Tatum, wrote the scripts, and he's also the lead in that. I fell in love with it with the subs, but the dub's pretty damn good. And, you know, microwave time machine.
Can't go wrong, man.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, first, before I ask my question, let me get the formalities out of the way. Hi, Josh. Welcome back to Ushicon.
Hey, glad to be back.
Yes. All right. And I remember last time you were here, fans asked you a question like, what's some of the craziest incidents or events you've had with fans at other conventions? Any more since last time you were here, or you've been pretty safe?
Yeah, pretty safe.
What about?
Do what?
Can I hear one of those?
Yeah.
Really, that's the thing. Like, you know, there's so many actors that have been doing this for so long that just have like these almost sometimes on the edge of terrifying stories of dealing with just some people that don't know about space. I've never really had a problem. Like the only one time I ever really had any sort of thing that kind of creeped me out, but nothing ever came of it, was Ushicon 2007 or 8. We premiered the first 2 or 3 episodes of the Double Wallflower there.
Yeah.
And and then I remember leaving the premiere and going to the artist alley to talk to a friend of mine. I'm sitting there talking to my friend, and all of a sudden I just feel these arms come around me and just hugging me real tight. And I immediately look back, and it's just a little short person. I just see a big old patch of red, kind of auburn hair, and I thought it was a friend of mine that was on staff. And I was like, "Oh, hey, you, what are you doing?" And I just hear this completely unfamiliar voice go, "Hugging Kyo, hey?" He's like, "Oh shit!" And I just turned around, this little girl there, and had a little quick 5-second conversation. She said, "Hey, when the DVD comes out, I'll be stalking you for an autograph." And I was like, "Thanks for the warning." And that was it. Nothing. If she came and got it signed by me at some point, I don't even know, but because she never made a big deal out of it. So, I mean, that's really the closest thing to a real.
I'm very online. like, you know, my Tumblr, my Instagram, my Twitter, Facebook page. I like being online. Maybe too much. But, so like people have said odd things to me online where I'm like, is that the best way to phrase that? Or I was at a grocery store and they're like, I've been following you for a couple of years now. And I'm like, please say Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter. Okay, cool. Lead with that. Lead with the Twitter. I know it's usually at cons when it's not at a panel or autographs. It's usually when, hey, I'm chilling at the bar. But there was one in New England where this guy, it was drinking and watching bad dubs. Unfortunately, nothing I was in. I'm sure there's something out there, but at one point we were all getting refills and the bartender knew me because I was the only person drinking gin. So the second he sees me, he's like grabbing the gin, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. And this guy's like, so, you like, do people try to have sex with you? I'm like, they have? Like in life? But I mean, are we gonna get personal here? I would hope that someone would have tried, yeah. Yeah. I was like, well, like, what do you say to them? I'm like, this is the weirdest way of going, like, can I have sex with you? Which, please, even if, like, they're both into it, never say, can I have sex with you? Don't do that. I would very much enjoy that, and I think you would be only mildly disappointed. But he just kind of kept going on that, and then finally, like, the guy who was head of security, like, his phone was completely dead. He's like, oh, look at that. I'm like, oh, damn it. He's like, yeah, I know. We gotta take care of this. Yeah, we gotta go. He's like, so if someone wanted to have sex with you, and I'm like, dude. Finally, the guy was just like, yeah, you need to go. But nothing, it was just, he's trying to have sex with you. I'm like, we know, everybody knows. Astronauts are like, holy crap, that dude's bombing. Like, but no, nothing like panel specific. Like if I'm with my big brother, Tatum, it's really just like watching certain things that happen to him. Like I've never been glommed. Don't try, because it won't work out very well for you. Training kicks in. But so like he's got a lot of funny like personal space stories, things like that, but I really don't. I've got, hey, I've been drinking, and really, can you blame, like, we've all been drinking, can't really blame anyone, let's just not get kicked out of a donut shop or something, and even then, it better be a good story, and it usually is. So, no big con horror stories for me.
Yeah. We're very fortunate.
Favorite, like, drugstore?
I was living in Fort Worth a few years back, and one of my roommates was a buddy of mine who I had known since, I don't know, kindergarten. He'd gone to the military after high school, and he had just been back from a tour in Afghanistan and Iraq for maybe a few months, and we decided to go out and drink. But when he left for the service, we weren't even 21, so we never had an actual just full-on sit down, go to a bar, have a drink together thing. So like, we're gonna go do that. So we go to this little cowboy-like bar, because that's what you're gonna find in Fort Worth, Texas. And having a ball, pounding back drinks back, and just going vodka. And then I went tequila, and I blacked out for about an hour. When I came to, I just suddenly remember hearing,
"You can't sleep here, sir."
And I'm like, oh God, what? And I look up, and there's 2 Fort Worth police officers standing over me, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And I was laying down full body on one of the tables in this bar, and I'm just like, oh, shit, oh, sorry, what is this, mahogany? It's just so comfortable. They're just pissed and not wanting to deal with another drunkard like me for the night, and so I could tell, like, I'm either about to get arrested or I'm going to get kicked out and then arrested. And one of the asks, "Are you here with anybody?" And immediately I'm just looking through and I see on the dance floor my buddy. Thankfully he was wearing his camo pants, I think is what he was wearing, so he was easy to spot. And it's like, that guy, I'm with him. And so one of them goes to get him, the other stays with me and tries to get me to get off the table. And I just like, oh, I guess I gotta get off the mahogany bed. I start to, push my way up and couldn't really do it. And the cop's just like, "Do you need any help?" And I turned to answer him like to say, "No, I'm fine." And instead it became, "No, I'm and I just threw up all down this cop's pant leg. And the only thing I could think to say was, "I'm a dragon!" And thankfully, by the grace of God, my friend came over right then and there, saw the puke on the leg, was like, "Okay, we're going." And that was it. Just took me out and we went home.
That's one of the first stories he ever told me. Now for me, I have a lot. Not that like I'm an alcoholic, because these don't happen very close to each other. But there was a friend, and I'm censoring this because actually a lot of us, all the voice actors, we do hang out a lot together. So I'm going to censor it my best, but I'll probably end up screwing it up halfway through. But a couple years ago, a friend of mine had to have her gallbladder removed. I think, her gallbladder, whatever. And we hadn't had a girls' night in forever, so we all go to this really nice ritzy place in Dallas, overpriced of course because it's Dallas. And we're doing fine, not really drinking a lot, or not really eating a lot. And then, yeah, we're gonna go to a club because none of us like them, so let's all go to one. And then just be like, "Can you believe this guy's trying to dance with me?" He's like, "Yeah, what are we? Like a bunch of chicks in a bar?" Oh my God, we're the only women in this bar. All right, a friend, cut to end of the night. 2 of our phones were gone. We couldn't find one person for the rest of the night. And then there was the friend that had her gallbladder recently taken out. So she hadn't drank since it had been removed. And it's very different when you're missing this particular organ, which we later found out. Like, wow, okay, so we're gonna do, like, yeah, I'm just having a beer, my drink, gin and tonic, beer, and then shots! That can't go wrong. And I'm like, "Yeah, no," and it became like, "Woo!" Everyone takes a drink, and I'm like, "Woo! Over here." No, not doing them. But I saw, like, and then I drank like all the shots that I collected in like an empty gin and tonic glass. And this was safe. It ended with like I couldn't find my friend. We'll call her gallbladder. I couldn't find gallbladder. Finally, we found her. We're like, "Hey, where's Jennifer?" What do you mean? Where's Jennifer? Jennifer! Looked around, couldn't find anybody. Gallbladder was starting to get a little swishy. I'm like, "Okay, let's go downstairs." She misses the first step a bit, and I go to grab her, and she, instead of going like, and she goes, and we both fall down a flight of stairs. And then she's just, I'm like, "Oh, why?" She's like, "This is gonna suck tomorrow." I'm like, "It sucks now." Oh God. And cut to the Facebook feed later. She's like, why am I covered in bruises? You stupid bitch. Here's why. And I also at one point just started putting things that I found throughout the club in her pockets. I'm like, "You're not gonna remember any of this." And so she started posting photos on the Facebook, like, "Why are these seashells in my back pocket?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't know." As we're leaving, she explodes, dragon style, and bouncer's just kind of laughing. This guy decides this is the perfect time to hit on gallbladder. She's like throwing up all over, because nothing happened to Brina in the story, throwing up all over Brina's shoes, and she's like, "These were new." Very girls' night thing. And then drunk dude starts, like we're trying to get gallbladder into the car. I'm trying to be really good about not saying her name. And he throws his driver's license at our friend who's driving the car to take Gallbladder home. Why? So we have his license. He starts getting into a fight with us. Me and Brina start shoulder checking him. And then everybody leaves except me and this guy. And I'm alone in downtown Dallas at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I've just physically assaulted this guy because he was going to physically assault me. And we're like, we're good. I could be dead right now. But it ended with, yeah, Gallbladder. Stupid Gallbladder. It's a very popular voice actress.
God damn it, Gallbladder!
Gallbladder! But
I love the fact that he decided to try and hit on her. It's like, what are you going to talk
Hey,
about? Like, did you eat spinach today? I love spinach.
Excuse me, I was wondering if I could date you for a couple of years and treat you like shit. But I would also be seeing other ladies on the side. No. So yeah, that is being really helpful and then getting dragged down the stairs and left alone with a guy who will throw his license at you. Yeah. There are several more, but this is probably one of the more positive ones for me. So that's what I will say. Good question. Thank you, Green Ranger.
This kind of reminds me of a story I was at. I was at Anime North Texas. Now, for some weird reason, there were a bunch of fraternity boys in the hotel the same weekend.
Gotta love a good concert that I built like
And
that.
a voice actress, who I don't want to name, was having, or had just gotten out of a program she did and was on the floor. And a bunch of drunken frat boys were around. Now, the con security was like, no, you can't enter the con without a pass. You need to pay for it. But there were too many of these drunk frat boys.
Yeah.
And they were coming in. They were going up to every woman they could and were like, "Hey, babe, show me your boobs!" And they came up to this particular voice actress and did that to her. And she was just like, no.
Well, it's ass. I mean, that's the law. Like they said, show me, and I guess I gotta show you my boobs. That's how it works. Them's the rules. Well, if it's an anime voice actor, I'm surprised they didn't get cut a little.
Yeah.
Because that's what
She got really mad about it too.
Oh yeah. Or actors. You get mad at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
What else, guys? Clearly, we're up for talking about anything. But just so you know, we've talked about Rin a lot, so.
That was last night.
It's like, it's going to be a terrible 18 plus panel. Let's just talk about Rin for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that.
Any questions about the industry? Yes, sir.
Just curious, is there a specific genre y'all like to work on? Like you said, you work on Initial D, which is like more racing, but then you got different things. Is there anything particularly you just prefer to work on over other things?
I'm always down for working on any sort of science fiction, fantasy, or just fantasy in general, even high fantasy.
I tend to gravitate. I really did love working on Ushicon Anime or Corpse Princess because that's in my wheelhouse. I'm obsessed with horror, like met Romero and like almost fainted and all that stuff. But like, so I really dig on horror, but maybe to the extent where I feel like no matter what, I'm not going to do it justice. So I really enjoyed working on comedy. That's why I think Baka will always have such a cool place in my heart. Like it was just, it's funny, it's cheeky. So comedy works really well, but I really haven't worked on much comedy as far as direction, but Level E, I play essentially a Power Ranger, but Color Rangers, let's call them Color Rangers. Like that kind of comedy, tongue-in-cheek stuff, like it's hilarious. I love it, a lot, yeah, stuff.
For shows that are based off another property, like for instance, Tower Druaga, do you look into the previous source? How much do you do research on the original source that this anime is based on?
If you're writing the show, generally you're expected to A, watch the show, and B, if there's any sort of, especially if it's something like Druaga or another really good example, the Shakugan no Shana series. There's so much backstory and there's so many little tidbits of information that you really need to be versed versed in. So it's a good idea to go back and look at those. But generally, as actors, when we're going in doing voice work, it depends on whether or not the director wants us to watch anything beforehand, or whether or not.
Some are very adamant about not letting us see stuff.
Yeah, and
Why is that?
They want us to be surprised and the performance to be genuine. I guess.
Yeah, because depending on what the character knows, knowing too much can affect the performance.
Okay.
So I mean, it's more about okay, well, the director will let you know what you, as your character, would need to know. But usually, a lot of directors like to keep us in the dark when it comes to everything else.
Yeah.
So, and that's just some preference.
Yeah, yeah. Like if there's manga available as far as directing, I usually watch that. Like when I auditioned for Butler, I was just watching a couple of episodes, and then it turned into I have to get the manga. I have to get the manga right now, and it became like giving other actors auditioning notes and things to do, and one of them was Tatum. He's like, oh, okay, tell me everything you know about it. It turned out to work out quite well. Like Baka, I was terrified because I didn't even realize it. Having seen the whole series before auditions, like I was saying in the commentary, the live commentary, if I hadn't been fortunate enough to cast Greeley or Freeman or Alexis, there are references, like Avo is pretty obvious, but like there were references to things I never would have gotten. On the other side of it, as far as me telling other actors things, like when I was on Ride Back, there, episode 10, there is a giant thing that happens in episode 10. And I showed every major actor, even if they didn't have anything to do with that scene, I showed them that scene to show them why there's such a difference after that episode. Except for the person that it happens to, which is like, hey, what's going on? Hey, this is happening today. Dude, man, now my day's ruined. Good. So yeah, or of course, Princess. Big thing happens in episode 12, and before Tatum was cast, he knew exactly what was going to happen to his character. I mean, I didn't go like, hey, so no one but you's going to get this part, but he nailed the performance, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, this happens, so don't be mad. And I've done that with, actually, like with your backstory in that show too. Like, you had to know that stuff, even though the audience doesn't get revealed to that, you had to know that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely had to.
Yeah, so it varies. Like Bund got into the manga. I get into the mangas a lot, but most of the time outside of that, like directors tend to have to fall in love with the show. So if there's other material out there, like I mentioned Steins Gate, when Colleen directed Steins Gate, she had to watch all of Chaos Head. Any other kind of reading material. When Joel directed Robotics Notes, he had to watch Chaos Head, he had to watch Steins Gate, because they're all in the same universe, so you don't want to cast the same people, you want to know any references that might be missed if you don't know the show and the world that it lives in. So it can be a bit exhausting, but I'm also a huge fan of research. Like, oh no, well you're going to have to research this, I'm like, oh no! I hate that. That's a good question. Thank you very much. What else, guys?
Do you have any stories to share about strange things you've done in the recording booth to get audio for work? to get like a sound for that's needed for something you're working on.
I think we all kind of do our own little strange things, but apparently I'm kind of famous for going crazy.
It's sometimes Josh, and actually I hadn't really recorded heavily like Josh had by this point, and I'm like, I totally see why he goes booth crazy. I see this now.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the smaller ones, like
in the whisper booths.
Yeah, the whisper booths just drive me out of my mind.
Because those are just boxes in a room.
I mean, in a whisper booth, you probably have about this much space to actually move around in. So, and those were the size booths that I recorded the majority. Like I recorded Kenichi in that entirely. Almost entirely. I recorded Line Barrels of Iron. I recorded Shikabane Hime. Well, no. Shikabane was
we were in the nice studio.
Yeah, we were in the nice studios for that.
Where you could go like,
Yeah,
That's
just
not
like,
touching the wall.
I can actually run side to side in this booth as opposed to just doing this. And I would be in there I would be in those things for doing Kenichi. I was in there for 10 hours a day sometimes, like for 2 weeks straight. But as far as like making noises or getting, it really is just a matter of being willing and daring to be as stupid as you possibly can.
You know that the engineer's probably going to laugh at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and then it's just playing around, just trying to figure out, okay, well, if I do whatever, and like really start to utilize your whole body without knocking the microphone over or hitting off mic, which can be challenging. I've knocked a few things over. Thankfully, never a microphone.
What did you do? Nothing. Just don't come in here.
Yeah, just don't come in. I'll clean it up. Clean it up!
Or we, like we tend to be in awkward poses. Like for the longest time, I would just kind of stand there, and not only is that very limiting as if you were just doing theater, like why hasn't she moved her arms at all? Which has happened to me in performances.
Yeah, and if you're doing fight scenes, it's a workout sometimes because you're having to, if you really want to get authentic sounds, like if someone's getting punched in the gut, you don't just go, ah! You have to like clench and really just, ah! And get and have that force and try to just really. And sometimes you'll be doing that several times. So.
Well, yeah, like options and all that.
Yeah, like one that's a little less punchy. Okay.
Like for
less air, more scream. Yeah, just like you. So you have to. You'll be doing a lot of stuff.
Like if I'm voicing Virgo, I tend to stand very prissy and always have my arms out like that. For some reason, that helps me. Or the last time I recorded, I was very flowy, just but if I'm playing a little boy, which I tend to do, I slouch and I tend to rub my belly, Buddhist style. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, just mind your own business, God. And I also tend to talk very harshly to female characters. Like, to the point where Joel McDonald's like, holy crap, dude. I'm like, dude, psh. Man, I'm gonna get that pregnant. Like that kind of stuff. Most of it isn't appreciated, but like screams, I tend to do a lot of scream and die sessions. Like in Bund, I play Nella and a little vampire kid named Gigi, but I'm also this blood-curdling scream, and it required me to stand like this, and when the scream comes, it's scream, and I turn my body so the air forces out in a certain way. So it's all these different little things that you do depending on what the reaction is.
Yeah.
It, like running, like if you're going like that isn't, but if you do just this little movement and don't wear jewelry or earrings, which women do a lot, like that just adds a little something to it. It maybe sounds a little less like if you weren't watching it, it sounds like you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, because it kind of adds that impact.
Yeah.
That very subtle impact of taking heavier steps. So it's little bitty things.
Just don't move your feet and stop clapping. Why? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There are many times too, yeah, sometimes you get so into it. Like, when you're watching the animation, you'll see some dude like doing this, and you're voicing that guy, and all of a sudden you're going, oh yeah! And then there's just like, okay, let's do that again without clapping.
There was a wallet that I did for Shangri-La, and we were all, me and 4 of the girls were singing, and at one point we were all just kind of jumping at, like after the singing, we were jumping and I stepped on someone's foot. So I went, like we're all like, ah, oh shit, sorry. And they're like, can we do it again? And who said oh shit, sorry? And they all go, we don't know. Let's just get it again. I'm sure we'll get it this time. And we'll keep our feet on the ground. So yeah, it varies. Like we all take stances. Like if you're about to fight, like in Ushicon Anime Convention, I'm always like doing this, like I'm about to draw my sword. And engineer's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm holding on to my sword, dude, shut up. It comes through. No. What else? That's a good question.
Yeah, I like that question.
Don't be scared.
It's okay, you raise your hand, yes.
This is kind of the obligatory question.
Okay.
What is the best advice you can give to somebody who wants to be a voice actor?
How about we do this? Anybody in here who's interested in becoming a voice actor, please raise your hand and keep it up.
Keep it up.
Keep it up? Really? Okay. All right, cool, that's fine. All right, keep it up, keep it up. Out of you, how many of you have taken either acting classes or in school with acting classes or have performed on stage?
You guys.
You got it going, you got it going. Get into classes and right then and there, that's really the best advice I can give, is get into classes and start getting your skill set going, because there is no exception for experience and training, and you're gonna need it. Trust me, you're gonna need it, especially because when you get one audition, if you come in and you can't perform and you blow it, then it's gone. So make sure that you're as prepared as you possibly can be. And then some things a lot of people don't necessarily think about a lot is it also you have to be willing to move where the work is. And in terms of anime, that's Dallas, Houston, LA, New York, or Vancouver. That's it.
Vancouver's a very different beast.
Yes, very much so. And yeah, just little things like that. But I mean, the biggest piece of advice, the biggest tip would just be start taking classes. And even if you can't take classes,
record yourself.
Yeah, record yourself, do community theater. I guarantee you if you go into a community theater that's nearby, and Austin is a great place. They have some amazing community theaters here. Just an amazing theater program, period, throughout this entire city. I guarantee you if you go into a community theater today and said that you wanted to help out and learn some acting tips as well, they would immediately hand you a brush and be like, okay, we're going to teach you how to build this prop, and then we have auditions for something next week. In the meantime, help us build something. So.
Yeah. Anyway, other things, I do come from a theater background, and the way I started directing was I took classes at community college and got my degree in radio, television, and film, and then got offered a job at Funny, like, even before I graduated. But in the past couple of years since I've seriously done strictly VO, I produce all the audiobooks that I do, and I work directly with clients. I had an agent, but for me, I was getting more work on my own, so the agent was really not making money off of me. It really wasn't fair. So I fired her. She's dead now. And I started doing voiceover classes. You also have to be very careful with classes like that, because it'd be like, well, I voiced this one thing. Yeah,
don't always go for a teacher. Find a teacher. If you're going to take classes, do it at a school. I mean, even a community college. Like, if a community college is offering theater programs, and most do, if you just want to take those just to try to get some skill in and learn some basics, do that, because that'll and take some voice and diction classes as well. Many colleges will offer those. That's usually a far safer bet than doing just some class with an actor who has no experience teaching anybody how to do anything.
And just from a performance,
take your money.
Just from a performance standpoint, like 2014, we're pretty far ahead in the technology game. There's software out there, whether or not you want to pay for it, that's your business. Record yourself, get familiar with your voice. I was really insecure about what my voice was actually capable of, and I'm always doing different things here and there. Like, you'll see that, just like, hey, blah, blah, like, we were doing a con together, and Josh and I tend to test out voices on each other without even realizing, like, ooh, that's a good voice. Do that again. Like, yeah, let's work on that. I want to work on doing reactions in that voice, because it's totally different depending on what pitch it is. Like, I can usually do that. Not in that voice, you can't, not yet anyway. Record yourself constantly and get feedback from people that you trust. Not people that will go, yeah, it sounds good. Well, so I don't need to work on anything. No. Bullshit, you probably do. So get criticism, listen to yourself, get comfortable with your own voice, your voice. That's a pet peeve, real quick. Pet peeve is I can do a really good Homer Simpson impression. I don't care. I want to hear your voice.
Yeah, and that's 99% of the work that we do, and all voice actors in anime really do, usually sticks very close to our natural range. So for me, the majority of the stuff that I play is either my normal voice here, something a little bit higher, or something a little bit lower. And any other thing that I do just kind of stems from those. Even your normal voices.
Jellyfish voice, yeah.
Yeah, the jellyfish, yeah, like Kuronosuke, like you have that high pitch, you just kind of go into the higher register, but to get the attitude for Kuronosuke, it's all about attitude and just holding stuff and just kind of playing around with that. And going into, let's say that I'm going in kind of like my lower register, but I wanna add something to it. We can go a little gruff with it, and right there, that's another voice. Let's try and add an accent to it. Hey, right now all of a sudden I'm kind of getting an Australian thing going on maybe a bit of a Cockney thing. And now I've got 4 voices. And it's, or 5 for those counting. And you just sort of work with and build those things up. I mean, hell, it's great. So a great thing for practice also is just walk around your house, find a random magazine that's lying around, pick it up, flip to a page, and then just start cold reading whatever's on that page. And especially advertisements. Advertisements are great. Just start reading those things and using it and playing around with your voice and
cold read is fantastic because guess what? We don't get those scripts beforehand. It's like, hey, yeah, you're gonna die today, and and you don't even know what your lines are. We don't get them beforehand.
Yeah, we go in and when we're recording a line, we've just seen that line 3 seconds before we actually record it. So you have to be able to not only see the dialogue, you have to be able to somewhat memorize it because you have to not only be worrying about what's written on the screen, but also making sure that you're matching the timing and the flaps on the other screen where the animation is. So you're having to just constantly bombard with all this information that you're having to immediately process and immediately turn into performance. And cold reading, yes, cold reading is essential to being a voice actor. Absolutely essential.
I don't remember the last time I was given the opportunity to take something home and memorize it. I don't remember that.
Yep.
I think I was still in high school. Yeah, good. I do like to talk about the advice thing. So it's a lot of information, especially, but again, I'm a fan of research. I think everyone should be. It's kind of like to ask, do you have any advice? Yes, but it's like, well, how do I do that? If you really want to do this, you would not be asking me that. Because Google is your friend, or whatever search engine is your poison. Google. But, yeah.
Google's really interesting.
What else? Of course, we got
yes, ma'am.
10 minutes.
How do you protect your voice? Through all the times that you're talking, there's got to be times straight.
Yes, ma'am. I don't think I've ever gotten that question. That's awesome. Usually, thankfully, a lot of times I don't. At least for me, I don't remember a time except for maybe 2 instances over maybe 3 or 4 over my entire career where I've actually lost my voice while recording. Usually, this is your best friend. You're constantly drinking water and constantly keeping your voice lubricated and hydrated because just any sort of talking will dry you out and completely dehydrate your entire system. So you have to stay hydrated. Most of the time, for protecting our voices, like throat coat can help. It can also be detrimental. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
If it's something let's say, well, actually, I do audiobooks, and I actually had to delay production a month because gallbladder got me sick. For those of you just tuning in, it's a friend of ours was very sick and still went to a baby shower, and 2 days later I'm like, hey, guess what? I hate you. Because now I have to delay this audiobook, and I can't sound like a 15-year-old girl because I sound like my Aunt Gloria right now. It's Aunt Gloria. I tried all these different tricks, did decongestants and all this stuff, and my husband, who's a sound engineer, was finally like, hey, I need you to shut up. I really need you to stop talking because you think that you sound great, and you sound fine, but you're making it worse by trying to coat it, so water is fantastic. When recording, not cold water, not hot water, lukewarm.
Room temperature.
Room temperature water. I don't remember the last time I had iced water while recording. Teas, if you're going to do a tea, no green, all herbal, nothing caffeinated because it dries you out. Milk actually helps coat your throat. Any kind of dairy product, but it's a double-edged sword because you're gonna hear that milk stuff at your back. You know what I'm talking about. And
little sinus action going on there.
Lemon is your friend.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, don't buy a bunch. If your throat is hurt, don't
talk. Just rest it. Let it rest. Because even then, when we were working on Ushicon Anime.
There was a point where you were sick.
Well, I was not only sick, I had just recorded the last major part of Line Barrel's volume at the same time, and the last 5 or 6 episodes,
screaming.
all of it for my character was just gut-wrenching screams, and I completely lost my voice. And I just stayed home.
But he
and
still
didn't
tried
get-
to come in because he was living in Houston at the time.
Yeah, so I just stayed with a friend in Dallas for a couple of days and just stayed at home, drank water, didn't talk. I didn't talk at all for 3 days, if I could avoid it. And came back and I was able to, I still was a little hoarse even after 2 or 3 days.
But it worked actually because we were still setting the voice for the character. So actually you just added that when you got better at the grovel.
Yeah, just had a grovel, yeah.
And like for me, playing if I'm playing boys, it really doesn't matter if I'm sick because I can just sound like, you know, my balls are about to drop. But if I'm voicing Virgo and I sound like this, I'm like, hey, I need to cancel that session, and they don't go, why?
Yeah, they just kind of hear it, they're just like, okay, yeah, you can't do this.
There's no point in you coming in, because if you did, we still have to pay you for being sick. But yeah, protect your voice. Also know when it's time. If you don't whisper. Whispering actually hurts your voice because you're actually holding the folds apart on purpose without allowing the actual vocals to do their job. So you're actually hurting it by whispering. And if you're at a party and you need to raise your voice and you want to not lose it, get somewhere where you don't have to raise your voice. Stay away from smoke, any kind of mist, really. And yeah. And I also, dork moment, I sleep with a humidifier. I have to in Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah. So those are some things that I do. And green apples, Granny Smith apples.
Yes.
And potato chips.
Which I only learned about that when I went out to LA to do work.
Because they just have bowls.
Yeah, they do. It's just, they walked in and was like, here's your green apples. I'm like, I already had breakfast, thank you. They're like,
No, you need one.
You need them.
Yep.
I was like, that's crazy. I didn't know it because they'd be like, you're getting a little too smacky. Take a bite of green apple. Okay. Holy crap, I'm not smacky anymore. It's just...
The acidity is specific only to the Granny Smith apple. It's weird. I'm like, well, I've got a red apple. Yeah, it's not going to do anything, and also it's sugary as crap, so that's actually going to make you sound even more smacky. Don't do that.
Yeah. Green apples are pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. Not only for voice work, but they're also one of the most nutrient-packed apples.
Thanks,
And now you know.
Okay, we got 5 minutes. What else, guys?
Awesome question. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thanks.
How do you guys, like when you're getting ready to do some voice work, how do you prepare for that warm-up?
Warm-ups. My warm-up, when I actually do it, is very long and time involved. It usually takes about half an hour to do, so I try to do it. Especially if I wake up and I'm just really horrible sounding. It usually starts with, I immediately have black tea with lemon. And just down it, and then just start downing water. And on the way to the studio, I do my vocal warm-up, which is I'm not even sure what the technique is called. I think my friend Ian Sinclair taught it to me. You know which one it is. Mm-hmm. You basically go through the alphabet 5 times, doing all the vowels. So you start with A, so A, the A sound for the vowel. You start with bay, 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 say, day, day, and just going all the way through. You get to the zay. When you're done with that, you go to I. Bye, sigh, and you just continuously go through all those, and you'll start to feel your chords, because you get to a point, if you do it correctly, where you have this constant, your chords are constantly in motion. They're not tiring. You're not really, exerting them really hard or overexerting. It's just this constant vibration that they start doing that allows, mucus or whatever to clear away, to get the smackiness out. And by the time you're done with it all, it's like I've been talking all day and I'm perfectly fine.
See, and that works for Josh, but it actually wears out my voice for me to do that. Where I'm just a little different. I focus on my old choir and singing training, but they're only, and then there's the theater warm-ups, Sit in solemn silence on an old dark docket, pestilent prison with a lifelong log, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a chicken jabber on a big black block. And then red leather, yellow leather, blah, 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 blah. But I have a whole playlist. It's called La La La. Most of it's Tenacious D, or Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, or the old school like Nancy Sinatra and all that. But it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes we don't know when we get called in what we're doing, which kind of sucks from a warming up standpoint. Like when I know I'm going to do Virgo, I tend to stick with Penny's stuff from Dr. Horrible. But if I'm a little kid, I'll stick with Neil Patrick Harris's part of Dr. Horrible, and then get super into Tenacious D, the climb up on my faithful steed. Yeah, like I just.
Yeah, if I ever do music, it's System of the Down. To
Yes.
warm up to.
Oh my god. Just loud melody.
Yeah.
But it varies. It varies. But yeah, for the most part, that's
It's poison.
this is poison. She handed me a water earlier. That's my guest relations chica extraordinaire. She went, "Here you go." And I'm like, "Why did you shake it?" It's like I'm just kidding around. Hey Josh, switch waters with me. But is that it, guys? Is it time? It's 1:58. I got shot.
Yeah. Because we need to take up just a little bit to set up now. So
Yeah, we're gonna do autographs downstairs in front of the dealer's room. And we will be doing theater versus voice acting 4. Yeah. Theater! Voice acting! Ow! Thank you guys so much for your questions and for the awesomeness that is you guys.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
So right now, downstairs, between dealer's room and the cafe, we've got a table set up that we'll be doing autographs at. Please join us down there if you have something to sign. So, be there for now.